Good morning everyone. Today we are going to read a story from your reader book, and that is chapter number 6, Olive and the Bees. So Olive is the name of the girl here. This is the girl Olive, and he is the brother of Olive. So let's start the story. I mean to make a study of bees, said Olive in an important manner. You can see in the picture that Olive is reading a book, and she is reading a book on natural history. And here she had been reading something about the bees, and she had been reading this book for the last 10 minutes. And after reading this book, she became interested on the study of bees. So she wanted to know more about the bees. Listen to this, Charlie, she went on, addressing her elder brother, who was arranging his roller skates. You can see that here is another boy, and what was he doing? He was wearing the roller skates, the shoes which is used for skating, and there are wheels under the shoes. And his brother's name was Charlie. It says here, for those who have leisure and wish to be entertained, we know of no study which promises a greater degree of satisfaction. And Olive said to her brother that if she had leisure time, means free time, she can study about the bees which could entertain her or which could satisfy her. And Olive was there for the holidays only, and in these holidays Olive will get lots of leisure time. And I need to be like Hubbard and study bees. Hubbard is a famous person who studied about bees and knew lots of things about the bees. And then Olive wanted to find out the wonderful things about the bees. But Hubbard, he was visually impaired. Visually impaired means he could not see anything, means he was blind. But Olive was not blind. So she thought that she could do, or she could find out lots of other interesting things about the bees. Olive finished up triumphantly, means she said all these things, like she knew lots of things, and she had lots of knowledge about everything or about the bees. Charlie, however, far from being impressed with this speech, only burst out laughing. You are conceited. But Charlie was least interested on the topic which his sister was talking about. And he said that Olive was wasting her time. He exclaimed, to think that you at 12 years of age are going to beat Hagar, who spent a lifetime in studying bees. So from here we come to know that the age of the olive is 12 years, and her brother said that at the age of 12 only she could not beat Hagar, who was studying about the bees for a lifetime. So then his brother laughed at him and said that of course she will learn something about the bees, and by that time she had been well stung, means the bees will sting her, means it will bite her, and then she will be able to describe the habits of the bees. But Olive was very confident that the bees will not sting her. Bees are wonderful, intelligent little creatures. She quoted this sentence from the big book. So, she was very sure that they will understand. Means the bees will understand that Olive was not supposed to hurt them, and she was only trying to study about them. But see, bees are not human beings. So it may be happen that they will not able to understand what you are trying to do. Whenever we are trying to go too close to these creatures, they are afraid and maybe they can attack you. So you have to be very careful when you are dealing with these types of creatures who can be harmful for some time. And one of their ways is to sting inquisitive folk, said Charlie. Then Charlie said that as his sister was very curious to learn the things, so maybe in this curiosity she can do some mistakes and disturb the bees. That time they will surely bite her. Let me advise you to have the vinegar bag handy. Nothing like it for the sting of an angry bee. Then Charlie advised his sister to carry the vinegar bag with her because it will be helpful when the bees stung her. It will release the pain. It was the first summer that Olive had spent in the country. It means she came there for the summer holidays, and its sights and scenes were new to her, as because in the before holidays he was not there. Maybe she was in her school or hostels, rejoicing in the freedom of being able to roam about without her hat or jacket. She ran lightly out of the low French window of the sitting room, down the path towards a large clump of lemon-colored foxgloves. It means that she stayed, or maybe she was reading in a school which is in the cold area. So all the time she had to wear the woolen clothes which were very heavy. But here, as it is in the summer, so she could easily, or she was feeling very light, and she can ran very easily. And in her hand there was a flower which is called foxgloves. You can see in the picture, these flowers are called foxgloves. She said that when she was on her bed, she could see in the foxgloves flowers, there were the bees which were going inside the flower and going out of the flower. As you know that bees collect honey from the flowers. For that they have their sits on the flower and they collect the honey from the flowers. And as the foxgloves tree was beside her window, so she could see the view of the flower and the bees. She stooped over the bed. She saw that the bees went in and out of the foxgloves. You know that bees collect honey from the flowers. So they had to go in and out of the flower. Oh yes, here is one buried quite deep in the flower. I must have that bee. So there she saw that a bee stuck into one flower and it could not come out from the flower. And she noticed that. And then she wanted to catch the bee. And she was taking out her handkerchief and she was running to the flower to catch the bee. Then she threw the handkerchief on the flower and she hold the bee or caught the bee in the fold of the handkerchief. And then she was feeling very triumphant because she was thinking that she got the victory. And she was taking that bee towards the hive. Hive means where they stay, the bees stay in the hive, and from there we can collect the honey. And she was taking the bee towards the hive. And then the hive was by the hive garden gate. There was a shelf and there was the hive, and she was running towards the hive, and she was telling that bee that it was like she was reaching the bee towards the hive. It means that she helped the bee to go to its hive. But you know that bees can fly and they have their wings, so we could not help them. Means it is not necessary for us to help them. It may be quite dangerous when you are playing with these insects. Bees, however, are not creatures to be trifled with, and this one did not mean to go to its hive with its honey bags only half full. So, trifled with means you could not or you should not treat the bees carelessly. You know that it has stings and it could stung you. So you should be more careful when you are going near the hives or when the bees are around us. We should be more careful. But see here, Olive is very careless and she was like playing with the bees. So this is not a creature which you can play with. And the bees are following some rules. So when it goes out from the hive and when it come back, their bags of honey should be full. And if you are collecting the bee as the Olive did, that she was taking the bee forcefully to its hive, but that time its collection of honey was not full. So its bag was half full and it was the forceful thing which was done with the creature. Instead it turned fiercely on Olive and stung her sharply on the hand. As I said that they are not the creature, you should be careful. And as Olive disturbed the bee, it became angry and it stung on the hand of Olive. So after this incident, Olive started screaming because it is very painful when bees stung. And she was hurrying away because she was feeling the pain. And at the time of hurrying, accidentally she upset the straw cover of a hive. Maybe her hand or something goes on the hive, and again she disturbed the bees. And instantly scores of angry bees, means lots of angry bees. You can see in the picture that lots of angry bees are going behind Olive. And Olive ran as she had never run before. She was running very fast, but she did not escape without several stings. It means in that time when she was running, that time the other bees also stings her. She was all but fainting with pain and terror when she at last reached the kitchen door and slammed it behind her. So she was when she was running, and when she reached their kitchen, that time she was fainting with pain. Fortunately, Martha, she was the maid servant of Olive or their house, and she was there. At that time, she applied the vinegar bag, which eased the pain of the sting. It was suggested by her brother also. Charlie also suggested to keep the vinegar bag with her. So Martha also applied that vinegar bag in that place where the bees stings her, and it eased the pain little bit. Then Olive started saying that I only wanted to study the bees. So she was saying that she did not want to hurt or disturb the bees. She just wanted to study about the bees. But still the bees sting her. So then Martha became very angry and said that you should better study obedience and leave the bees alone. Means she should learn to follow the obedience, means as her brother suggested her not to do that, but still she did that, and Martha also said not to do that, but she did not listen to anyone and went there and bees stung her. So it should be better if she listened to the elders and leave the bees alone. Last day means yesterday. Martha also said, means Martha also saw that Olive was going near the hives and she told her not to do that. And if she wanted to study bees, she should learn or she should ask the bee master to tell her how to set about it. Some weeks later, Olive got a chance to watch the bee master when she was removing the honey from the hive. And she also noticed that the bee master did not get stung even though the bees were all around him, because the bee master knew the technique how to remove it and how to do the work or how to collect the honey from the hive without hurting any of the bees or without disturbing them. Olive could not help admiring the fearlessness. He went to the walk. Olive was very impressed with the bee master because he was not afraid at all, and the bees also did not sting him. It means that they had lots of cooperation. Then she understood that Charlie, her brother, was right, and Olive learned something from the bees, and one of her lessons was humility. Means she learned that you should be humble or you should be respectful to everyone. As Olive was hurting or disturbing the bees, and she was collecting the bees from the flower forcefully. So she should not do that, because when you are disturbing anyone, it means you are not respect that person, or it can be any creature. We should not disturb anyone when they are doing their work. We should have that much humbleness in our nature. She did not think she knew all about the subject after reading of the wonderful discoveries of men who had given a lifetime to it again. So then she also understood that she did not know everything about the bees, and she could not beat Hubbard also, because he spent a lifetime to study about the bees. So that is all about the story, and from here we learn that we should be humble or respectful to everyone when they are doing their work. We should not disturb anyone, and it may be the human beings or it may be any creature. We should not hurt any of the creatures. This is the edited version of Olive and the Bees from Chatterbox in 1906. end here. Thank you, students.